What's up, Million Dollar Upside family? Super excited for yet another beautiful day. Oh man, God is good, right? Now, but for real, guys, if you don't know me, my name's Joseph. I'm part of the Million Dollar Upside team. We bring content to you guys to help in your multifamily journey, as well as to get you guys started in the right foot and here for guidance anytime that you guys need something or run into issues. So that's what our channel is about. We're here to change the game, and I'm super excited to be here. You could say I'm just happy to be here. Guys, the topic of today is a good one. It's a good one. One of my favorite ones too. Because I like to delegate things. And if you don't know me, I like to delegate things. And this year, 2023, the key word for the business is delegate. Delegate, delegate, delegate. We want to get the right people in the right places so we are not the bottleneck, so we can continue to grow. So why do I bring that up? Today's topic is how to find a property management company. I get so many questions about this, and what should I ask? What should I look for? What's a good one? What's not a good one? Why do we even need one? All kinds of things like that. So that's why we brought this topic together. That's why we're here today, to kind of just go over some of those things. All right. So the first thing, when do you need a property management company? Why should you get one? Well, for us, our business model, as you guys can see, my phone and watch are constantly just going off every day. Our business model is we do not want to be the landlords. We do not want to be owner operators. We want to buy the property, own the property, and then move on, get more properties, and just oversee what the property is doing and make sure that everything is going according to plan. We do not want to be fixing toilets, fixing the sink. We do not want to be the ones coming to the property every single time when something goes wrong, especially because we do things virtually. So if we were to try and do that virtually, holy crap, we'd be spending so much on gas. And it just wouldn't make sense. It would not make sense. I mean, for right now, we have a property in Corpus. We are working on one in Houston, and we have one in Tennessee. Could you imagine trying to be the person that is going to each of these properties to fix everything, to deal with the tenant problems, whatever the issue is, getting calls in the middle of the night and you having to coordinate all that? No way. That is not what I want to do. Not unless it's like a 3,000 unit complex all in one spot. Then, I'd consider it, because I could probably just do that and retire from that one property if I owned it all. So that's why we want to get property management companies. I see a couple guys in the side chat here. I see Max, one of the $1 million VIPs. What a freaking rock star. And then Philip, this guy, he's an action taker. If you guys don't know Philip, y'all need to connect with Philip. Actually, Philip, I might have something for you in Louisiana. I might have something for you, so stay tuned. Okay, back to the topic at hand, property management. We already discussed, why we would want one, right? They're going to handle all of that day-to-day stuff that you as an owner don't necessarily want to handle, right? You have bigger things to focus on and more money-making activities that you can put your time elsewhere. So that's why we want to get a property management company. All right. Next thing, how do we figure out when and where we need one, or can we afford one, or what's the budget that we can afford? So that all comes back into your underwriting. In the underwriting, and most analyzers, they have a section in the expenses that says management fee, and then there's another one that says payroll. That would be for your management team. Now, whether that is all one property management company and you're just paying the fee, they're covering their own payroll, or you're paying a property management company to kind of oversee the people that you hire personally, and they're on your payroll. So those are the two standard methods that we see the most. Depending on the property, the size of the property, the income of the property is going to dictate which one of those is going to be the better model for that particular property. And for us, every property is different. We always look at every single property with a new set of eyes. So you should as well. It's very, very important no properties, even if they're almost identical, the expenses are very same, no property is going to be the exact same. Okay. So now we covered what are the property management and what do they do, and why should we go get one, and how can we afford one. Okay. We covered those. So how do you actually go and find these property management companies? Like, I've never done this before. How do you go find one, right? Where do you look? Do you just like show up to events and start talking to people and get recommendations? Yeah, that's one way. You can absolutely do that. Honestly, I would recommend doing that. If you have somebody that's more experienced in that particular market that the property is in, I would absolutely ask for a referral. Absolutely ask for a referral. It one is going to show you as an action taker, hey, this person is making moves. They have to go find a property management company for their property. Hold up. All right. Man, now KJ's laptop's not doing great. Okay. That's one method, right? Talking to people, networking, reaching out to people in the same market as you who are doing things ahead of you. Always reach out to those people. That's a highly, highly, highly valued resource in our book. People that are doing the same thing that we want to be doing, even if it's in different markets than us, we still want to get feedback on what they're doing. So that would be my personal recommendation, and to find the best ones. Now, that's not always feasible for everybody. It's not going to be the easiest method to do because one, maybe you're just not in that space where you're comfortable talking to people. And if that is you, you should definitely work on that. That would be a key skill to have. Get out there, get uncomfortable, talk to people. You have to have that skill as an entrepreneur. You got to get good at it. I don't like doing it. It's not my personal favorite thing to do. I'm much more introverted. I'd rather be at home dealing with spreadsheets and numbers, dealing on the computer. That's my comfort zone, right? But to be successful, you got to get uncomfortable. So, what do people do in that instance where they don't have that comfortability, or maybe they're just brand spanking new and haven't even been to a meetup before? What can you do to find some? Well, Google. Google. You can Google so many things and get so many answers in this day and age with Google or any other search engine, whatever your preference is. It doesn't matter. But that's what we do. We would Google that particular market. Like, for example, we're doing one in Houston. All I typed in was property management company, Houston. Boom. A whole list of them pull up, like more than I could even count. And I just started calling them. That's it. It sounds crazy, right? But no, that's literally it. That's all you're doing. You just start calling down the list. For me, I personally like to look at the reviews. If I'm looking at a property management company and I see one that has 1 star, 2 star, man, this property management company did this, and this. Man, I'm looking at those horror stories. I want to see, 4 star plus, ideally, because your property is only going to be as good as your property management company, because they're the ones that are controlling the day to day. They're the ones that are going to be the face to your tenants. They're going to be the ones that are controlling your finances in most cases, depending on what state you're in. But they will have a hand in the pot, at least in every state. They'll have some kind of say on what the expenses go towards on the day to day side. So it's very, very important that you do your due diligence on the property management company. We have definitely found some good ones. Absolutely, we have found some good ones. Rockstar in Houston, Rockstar in Tennessee, and we have found some solid ones. And what makes them different than most property management companies, and this is a golden nugget here, guys. This is one question you should always ask. Here's the question: do you own multifamily assets yourself? Do you own any multifamily assets yourself? That is a super key question that we like to ask every single time. It sounds kind of nonchalant. Who actually cares? Why do I care if you own any property, right? I'm not part of it. Well, here's why you should care. The reason you should care is because this person is going to be in charge of your property. Like I already explained that. They're going to be in charge of your property. So, would I rather have someone that has no experience dealing with their own properties, or would I rather have somebody that has experience dealing with their own properties? They have been in the heat of battle on their own property, making their own decisions for those properties. Or do I just want someone that's just here? Their job is to take care of properties. They just want to. They're just there for the paycheck. They don't care about investing themselves. They don't see it the same way that you do. It's not their property. They're just there for the paycheck, and that's totally fine. We need people like that in the world. But for me personally, that's not who I want watching over my property that I have millions of dollars either invested of my own money or other people's money. That's it. That's it. I need to be cream of the crop with all of my stuff. I need to make sure that I'm doing the best, getting 100% output from my team. So that is one crucial question that I like to ask towards the beginning. And the way that you guys need to think about it this way. When you're calling these people, you're not necessarily, vetting for services or let me phrase that a different way. You're not necessarily looking to join their team, right? There we go. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm trying to say. You're not necessarily looking to join their team. You're not looking to make necessarily a good impression on them. It's the kind of the other way around. You are the prize, so to speak. They should be looking to win your services. They should be looking to win your business, not the other way around, right? Because you have the prize, you have the property. You're the ones. If without the property, they don't have a job to do, right? So you're essentially bringing them work. So it's very important that you make sure when you're dealing with them that you keep that in mind. You are interviewing these people for the position that you have. Keep in mind that and handle the conversation in that sense. And I guarantee that it will come a little bit naturally. Sure, you're gonna maybe miss a question here or two, but that's okay. You need to get out there and just start effing stuff up. 100%. I can tell you right now that the first few property management calls that I had no idea what I was doing, no idea what I was asking. I was just asking whatever the hell came to mind in the moment. Yeah, and I mean, I had some guidance. I definitely did have some guidance on some questions to ask, but still, even then, once I answered those questions, what the hell else did I say? You know what I mean? Did I just sit there? No, you have to kind of, be quick on your feet. You have to be on the lookout for potential red flags. Listen to what they're telling you. Listen how they handle different situations. You want to really dig deep. Okay, I know you guys have heard me beat this till I'm blue in the face in regards to the underwriting, right? Well, what is the reason for underwriting? What are we doing the underwriting for? Looking through the T12s and the rent rolls. Well, you're looking for questions. You're looking for more things to ask to find the weak spots or maybe the skeletons in the closet. You should have the same mindset when you're dealing with the property management companies. You should be asking things, probing questions to kind of see, hey, how are they going to respond to this? Do I like how they responded to it? Am I vibing with that? I've had a previous experience in the past and I did not like how this company handled it. So I want to know, hey, in this scenario, how would you resolve it? How would you handle this? You want to be asking these different questions to make them think on their feet. Because they're going to have their normal spiel that they do for every single client. And it's going to sound really, really good. But then you start asking different questions that most people don't ask, or just different things that you're thinking of. And you want to see how they answer when they're put in the spot. Are they quick on their feet? Because they're going to need to be quick on the feet. You want somebody that thinks out of the box, a little bit intelligent. Okay, some other questions to ask. Let's see. All right, here's some good ones. And some of this is just different experiences that we've had, right? So when you're doing the initial call with them, typically there you get answered by a front desk person, receptionist, or someone that just handles the phone calls. If they have their stuff together, that's typically who will answer. And then they'll set up a meeting with you for the next call. Typically, they will refer to it as the broker of the property management company. It could be the owner. It could just be someone that is a representative of them. And they will get you from the gatekeeper to the next set of calls. And it may be a couple calls till you get to the head honcho or whoever is actually in charge of everything. You want to ask all these questions, the same questions to everybody almost. You want to see if there's different answers along the way. And if there is, call them out on it. Hey, I was speaking to so-and-so and I asked X, Y, and Z, and this was the answer they gave me in comparison to the answer you gave me. What's the real deal? Again, you're hiring for position. Make sure you have all the information to make that decision. So some really good ones that you should ask every single time. 1, what's your fee? What does that look like for this specific property? What do you guys charge? Is it management fee only? If so, what does that look like? Is it, hey, a super low management fee and you cover all the payroll? Us, we have to cover all the payroll, or how does that look like? You want to get really good clarity on exactly what that's going to look like. And most property management companies, not all, but most, will have some kind of brochure or a proposal that they could put together for you with all of the different fees and associated costs of everything. And some more things you want to get clarity as far as the costs and the fees and things like that is not only their management fee, but what fees do they keep versus what fees do you as the owner keep, as the general partner or manager of the deal? Who keeps what fees? Those are things you want to find out, because a lot of times, like late fees or non-sufficient fund fees, or anytime that they have to go and but chase the money down from the tenants, like, hey, they're not paying rent. Sometimes they will keep those late fees, and that's something that you need to negotiate with them, or if you're comfortable with it, then accept it. Those are things that you have to discuss beforehand. You want to make sure all of this is out on the table so you can make the best decision you can. Another thing you want to ask is in regards to repairs and maintenance. For example, our Tennessee property management company, they don't charge us for maintenance. Hang on, let me clarify. They don't charge us for the cost of maintenance. They don't charge us for that. They charge us up front before the maintenance even happens. They charge us up front $40 a month per year. I'm sorry, $40 a month per unit. There you go. So every single month, it's 40 times 40 or something like that. And we're paying that as our monthly budget towards the repairs and maintenance. And that will cover all of the maintenance costs that we have that come up. So we don't have to pay additional for anything because we're already paying it up front. So sometimes we'll pay less, sometimes we'll pay more. But for us, that worked with our underwriting. We were okay with doing that. And we made it happen. Now, for example, the current one that we're moving forward under contract with, it's different. They're not charging us upfront. It's at cost. As things show up, as things come about, that's when we pay. But we're also not paying. We're just paying for the labor that it costs, and the cost of the materials. That's all we're paying for. We're not paying any additional fees or upcharges from the property management, because there are some property management companies out there that, hey, they'll charge at cost, but we're going to charge an additional 5%, 10% on top of it for our services and coordinating these contractors coming and coordinating the maintenance people coming out. So be on the lookout for that stuff. You want to be asking those things. Ask those questions. Very, very important. You want to understand all of the fees. And that was just some of them. I didn't cover all of them, but there are a lot of fees involved. You will see it on the contract. Read your contract thoroughly. I suggest you get an attorney to review it. We have an attorney. I see Max. He said, frantically trying to write everything down. Don't worry, bro. This is recorded. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be there. So just get very good clarity on the cost to you as the owner operator and future costs and what those fee structures are going to look like, who's going to keep what fees, who's not going to keep what fees. Maybe let's say they say, oh, we're going to keep 100% of all late fees. And you say, no, I'm okay giving you most of it, but I want 40%. You keep 60%, I want 40%. Right? You just need to say it. If you don't say it, it never happened. Worst you could be told is no. So definitely try, become a negotiator. Remember, you're hiring for the position. They're obviously going to ask for as much as they can get and make sure that it's worth it for them to do it, to work with you, to become your partner in the deal. Right. And I use partner loosely because they're not actually general partners or limited partners or anything, but they are going to be a new relationship that is crucial to that property. And I say relationship strongly. Like this is Oscar was just talking about how you want to create long-term relationships with brokers. And this was yesterday on the live. So it's the same concept. You want to create long-term relationships with these property management companies. Because let's say you're constantly buying in that market. Do you want to have to go and do this every single property you get? If you know you have a rock solid superstar, hell no. I'm just going to go back to my superstar and be like, look, I'm going to keep bringing you business. Let's negotiate that fee down a little bit because I'm bringing you more consistent business. I'm going to overwhelm you with shit to do. Right? So think about it in the long term as well. So some things are worth, maybe paying a little bit extra up front to make that relationship a little stronger. At the same time, don't just give in though. So it's a balancing act. Okay. Some other questions. What are some other things to ask? You want to ask if they manage that particular asset class, right? If you're looking at an A-class property, but the property management team that you're working with or talking to has only ever managed Class C assets, then they might be a little bit in over their head. And, I think it's doable, absolutely, but you don't want to be the guinea pigs. Hell no, you don't want to be the guinea pigs. Remember, you got millions of dollars of people's money in this deal. You do not want to be the guinea pigs at all. And that goes for new property management companies too. Like if they're like brand new or really don't have a lot of assets under their belt, or like they say, hey, we only manage single family properties, that is not somebody that you necessarily want to go with. They are probably phenomenal rock stars. They may be, but you don't want to be their first multifamily property or their first asset of that type. That is very important. I mean, it's your business. Do whatever you want to. That's just our model. We do not want to be the first ones to find out what happens. Because it could be really, really great. You don't know. It could be really great, but it could be really, really bad too. And that is not in a place that I want to be, because they have total control of your property, essentially. Not total control, but pretty much. They have a lot of control. So it's very important that you ask those questions. Find out who you're working with, what their past experience is, and even go one step further. You can ask for some properties that they manage currently, and then guess what? Put it in Google and look at the review for that property. You will find so much out about your property management company that you're interviewing by just asking, hey, what are some properties that you've managed currently or have managed in the past? And go and look at the reviews for those. Ideally, you want to do one that's currently, because you may say one that's in the past and then go and look, and the reviews that are there are not necessarily about the property management company you're talking to. So you want to do one that is current, that they currently are managing. That little golden nugget right there, for real. That's a good one. It really is. It sounds so simple, but you don't really think about it until you're either in the heat of the moment or after the fact. So due diligence. Okay, another one. One that we came across is property that we're currently working on is like 85-90% Hispanic, and most of them only speak Spanish. So one thing that is very important is you want to make sure that they, one, are going to be able to handle that type of asset. Ask what they've done before. Have they dealt with Spanish speaking properties? If so, how did they do that? How do they resolve issues? Do you have Spanish speakers on the team? If so, what does that process look like? Do they have to call and then wait for a Spanish speaker to call them back, or does everybody speak Spanish? Or how do you handle those situations? And whatever situation you guys can think of, ask them. Same rules always. No question is off limits. T-shirt idea right there. No question is off limits. Ask whatever you can think of. 100%. So, and another thing is you want to ask if, for that same scenario, do they have leases in Spanish that they can either read with the prospective tenants, or have them as a copy so they can read that one and then sign the English one or whatever it is. You just want to understand the exact scenario of what's about to go down. Some other ones. What does here's a really good one. We are about to go under due diligence for the property. We're about to go under contract. What does that look like for you guys? What is the involvement from you as a property management team? Will you be there with us to do the property walkthrough, to do our inspection? Or is that not something that you guys do? If it's not, why not? Or can you? I want you to be there. I want you to be at the property. I want you to see what we see when we see it. I want you to be there as much as possible. I want 100% involvement from you, because you're about to be managing this property. I don't want to have to come in and tell you things and things get lost in translation. I want you to be there and see it as we're seeing it. So that is really, really crucial to try and get them there as soon as possible and going over the property with you. You also want to know what their typical due diligence looks like. Are they very hands-on in the due diligence? Will they kind of take over a little bit with you and walk the process with you? Or do they want to be given guidance and what's going on? Those are things you want to ask. Or maybe even just ask, what does your typical due diligence process look like with your other clients? And then have them, it's an open-ended question, and have them, talk some more so you can get more clarity on what they think. Then ask your probing questions further. For us, we want as much involvement as possible. You want to see if they do estoppels. Will they handle the lease audits? Will they do financial audits? Or do I need to get an accountant involved? Usually you need to get an accountant involved. Will they create the budget for you, or do you need to create the budget with them or for them? Right? Or can we do this together? Can we get on the same page together? Or do you want me to put mine together and then we sit down and review it after I've already created it? Right? Those are things that you want to know. You want to find those out. Let's see what else. Sorry, guys. They all come to me, man. I don't have it written down anywhere. It's just prior experience that we've gone through and situations that we were put in that we didn't know better to not be put in. Max says, hang on, my mouse. Max says, at what point do you have property management take a look at your underwriting pro formas? So that your underwriting is your budget. That is your budget. So you can go over I'll give our example. In the most recent one, we went over it in a group call. We had a group call. So initially, this is what it looked like. It was me and Ione. We did the initial call with our property management, and we were asking, the questions to see if we were even going to be the right fit. And we could tell she was very business savvy. She was very professional. She was talking about the KPIs and this and this of how it's going to all work. So we knew she had experience, and we knew that we felt really comfortable. A lot of this is just your gut feeling or vibes or energy or aura, whatever word you want to call it. A lot of this is your intuition. You want it to feel that it's the right person. So it's up to you when you want to share that information. You can share it ASAP, as soon as possible, or you can do it, during the walkthrough, or talk about the numbers during the walkthrough or after the walkthrough. It's totally up to you. But that is your budgeting. So when you're talking about, hey, who's going to be setting up the budget? Would you do it yourself? Do you just look at my underwriting and then create a budget, or what does that process look like normally for you? So that's up to you guys to figure that out when you want to do that. There's no right or wrong answer. You can absolutely show them early, or you can show them later. Our personal preference is the sooner the better for everything. Money loves speed. Money loves speed. So the faster you can get things accomplished and efficiently, the better off that you're going to be. So, I see Rob's question. He says, please elaborate on estoppels. It's estoppels. Estoppels. E-stop, P-L-E-S. Estoppels. So what that is here's a short and sweet answer. Estoppel is when you go up to the property and you go unit by unit by unit by unit, and you get the tenant to sign a paper saying how much they're paying rent, how much they're paying in pet fees, any additional fees that they're paying, when their lease started, when their lease ended. You're having the tenant sign a paper saying that information. It's basically their statement of what's going on. And you get that one. You get an estoppel because you want to compare that to the leases that you have on hand. For example, when we did the Tennessee one, we found so many things that were just not being accounted for in the rent rolls. Like, there was a lot of people that had pets, and a lot of them were not paying pet fees. Some of them were, some of them weren't. It was self-managed property. There was some people that on the lease said they were paying like $400 in rent, but then they would say they're paying $600 in rent, right? So that you want to get clarity on that in addition to your lease audits. So that's something you don't necessarily have to do on every property. I recommend it just because it's a good practice to have. And it's typically on your Class C assets that you really want to do that, or mismanaged assets, I should say. That's when you really want to get estoppels. And sometimes your property management team will do that for you. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes they say, hey, let's have the sellers do that. Let's have the sellers go and get those estoppels for us. So it's whatever you're able to work out, negotiate, structure. There is no right or wrong answer for any of this. It's how you want to do business. So as you go and do this, you may listen to half of what I'm saying, and then the other half you don't really agree with or don't care for. Totally fine. Doesn't matter to me. I just want to put this out there to help as many people as I can. So you're going to adapt your own business model, your own strategy. That's totally fine. I highly recommend that you do, because you may have a different personality type than me. Most people probably do. So you're going to want to figure those things out as you go along. This is just a guidance to shove your foot in the door and figure out, okay, how can I go screw something else up to get more questions to bring back to the $1 Million Upside team? That's why we're here today. That's why we're doing this. I'm trying to think of some other possible scenarios, some other different things that we can cover, go over. Oh, you want to know how often does your property management team expect to be meeting, both during due diligence and post closing, right? How often are you guys going to be meeting up? Is it okay? Here's our example. There we go. The current one that we're working with was not expecting beforehand meetings other than as needed during the due diligence. But post closing, she was expecting a bi-weekly. For us, that's a little bit too long. All right, I'm okay meeting as needed during due diligence. I would prefer to to meet on a regular basis just to cover anything potential that we may have. So we're setting up bi-weekly meetings to do that. And then post closing, we want to meet damn near every day in the first month or two, just because I know we're going to have a lot going on. But I'm okay meeting in the middle and doing like once a week. And every single week, we cover the things that need to get done. Here's your homework. Here's your action items. Make sure you go get it. Boom. We're going to meet next week. What else happened? Did something go wrong? Did you get your action items done? That I'm okay with doing that. You just need to make sure you, as the manager, are on the same page as the property management team that you put in place. Get on the same page. That's what you need to do. That's the ultimate goal when doing this. Are we the right fit for each other? And can we get on the same page moving forward so that way there's no issues? Do you guys have any specific questions about property management that I can address right now? Because at this point, I'm running out of steam. I don't know that there's anything necessarily that crucial that you need to address right away that I haven't gone over, or that you won't just kind of ask by natural causes. You know, as things come up, you're going to ask those questions. So I don't necessarily want to focus on those. I want to focus on different things that maybe the average person doesn't necessarily think of. Fees, man, I don't know. I feel like that is primarily it. Like I said, your ultimate goal is just to make sure that you guys fit well together. We want to understand their business model. You want to give them different scenarios. Hey, if a tenant, how does the tenant, pay their bill? What platform do you guys use? How do you guys keep track of the finances? What system are you guys using? Is it Appfolio? Is it Buildium? You want to ask those different things about the software that they're using so you can understand it. Reports. How do we get reports as owners? Are you guys going to send reports every month, or do I have to go print the reports every month myself? Or like, what does that look like? Can you send me reports? Can we make that a requirement that you're sending me reports so I don't have to go ask for it every single time? That's a good one. Excuse me. Let's see what else. The specific scenarios, like if a tenant has an issue, how do you, as property management, how do you guys normally go about that? Do they call in and then they get someone to come out there within 24 hours? Do you guys have 24-hour maintenance? Is there a person on site at all times? How does that look like for you guys? Do you guys do everything virtually, or do you plant a person at the property to be in the office? What does that look like? The questions you ask are going to be property specific as well. All right. Because that last one I just said, is there going to be somebody in the office? Some properties just don't have offices. I know it sounds kind of weird, but there are properties out there that don't have offices. Like the Tennessee one doesn't have an office. So they do everything virtual on the phone or remotely. And then as people need someone, they send them out. So you want to get clarity on what those situations are going to look like. You want to know if you need to send out an alert, how does that alert get sent out? Is it through a text message system? Is it on the software that you guys use, like the login platform? Are you guys using a specific platform for the tenants to go log in and pay their bills and see everything, right? Is that how you're notifying everybody? If so, what is that? Tell me a little bit more about that. Honestly, you should say, tell me a little bit more about that for almost every question that you ask. Every answer they give you, probe further. And if you don't like how they answered a question, maybe ask it a different way, or say, hey, I appreciate that answer. In our business model, this is what we would like to see. That's a really good way to rephrase that, to say, hey, I don't like that. Let's do it this way instead. The professional way of saying that. I see Rob Dodd says, have you heard of someone buying a property management company to be a full-time real estate pro? Personally, no, I haven't heard of that. Is it unheard of? I'm sure it's not. There are people that just want to be property management companies because they're going to get access to different deals. They're going to be able to use it on their own properties. I know a lot of people do that. Like they'll go and start a construction business or a leasing company or property management company, so that way they can do everything in house. So it's just whatever your business model is. That's it, and that could be somebody's business model. So no, I don't think it's unheard of. It's just not something I've personally heard anybody tell me personally, but it's definitely out there. It really is. Max says, how involved are you guys during the renovations of the units? Oh, that's a good question. There you go. Do you just set the expectations and have the property manager go out and do it? What roles do you have as the asset manager during the process? I love that. Perfect. Good question. We didn't cover that. So that's something you're going to want to address up front. You're going to want to talk to them, figure that out. And every company's going to be different. Some of them will hire a general contractor to do it, and you may or may not be responsible for that cost. Some of them don't do any of the construction, they have no involvement. Some of them have a lot of construction experience and will cover everything. They will be the GC, they will handle all the coordination. They will here, you give them the plan. This is what we want to do. This is the specs that we want to see. Boom, here you go. Have at it. Make it happen. And then you don't just set it and forget it. No matter which of the options that they go with or whatever scenario it is, you never just set it and forget it. So one of the roles that you have as an asset manager is you are managing the manager. No matter how good they are, even if they are so much more experienced than you, even if they have so many different properties that they're working on, your job as the asset manager partner, whichever partner is responsible for the asset management, we call it the property manager bad guy, because you're the person that's responsible for making sure they're doing their job. If you have to get onto them, that person, the property manager bad guy, is the person that has to tell them, hey, you're not doing X, Y, and Z. We would like to see you doing X, Y, and Z, or you need to be doing this, or hey, I don't necessarily like how this is going. Let's change it up this way. Those meetings that you're having post closing, that's what those meetings are for, to make sure that they are on track, completing the business plan as planned, as scheduled, making sure they're doing that, making sure the renovations are going according to plan. And those are two separate roles, or could be two separate roles. You have your property manager bad guy that's in charge of making sure the property manager is doing the job. Then you have your construction manager, or renovation or manager, project manager, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. That person is responsible for making sure the renovations go according to plan. So that could be the same person. It could be two different people. It's however you have things structured on your end. But that's what those meetings would be for, is to make sure that renovations are going according to plan and that the property is being managed in the way that you want it to be managed. You're also going to have somebody that's in charge of doing like the financial side of it and making sure, in this, again, could be the same person, could be a different person. You want to have someone that's reviewing the leases and the finances from the property management, just making sure that things are going according to plan. For us, we outsource this. We want to hire an accountant to just review that stuff for us and make sure there's nothing crazy going on. That's what we want to do. We want to remember, delegate. That's the word of 2023, delegate. As much that you can delegate off that you don't necessarily have to be in charge of, by all means, do it. That's how you're going to build a business that you don't have to run, you can oversee. So it's the same thing. You want to oversee the property manager. You are managing the manager, no matter how good they are. Okay. That was about 45 minutes. You guys get some value off of that one? I feel like there's some good stuff in there. A lot of that we had to just kind of figure out. I think we got some, like the first few questions, I think is what we were given, and then everything else kind of just had to go through it. Oh, one thing we didn't cover is how many property management companies do you need to call till you get the right one? Well, on this Houston property, I called 6. I think Oscar called like 5. I honestly, I don't know how many he called, but he definitely called some. Ione called some. Another partner, Bernardo, called some. So we all called property management companies, and we had like an Excel sheet that we just, hey, we called this person, this happened. We called this person, this happened, and we just shared that so we weren't calling the same people. But there was quite a few people that we went through because we were looking for something specific. Oh, there you go. That's something specific. Is we were wanting to have, and every state's different, and we found Texas is not necessarily friendly of this, but we were wanting to have control of the money. We did not want the property management to have the control of the money. So what they use, and a lot of property management companies, and what we have found is that this is kind of the norm for Texas, is that they use trust accounts where they have one bank account where all of their properties funnel into this bank account, and then they pay accordingly to wherever the money needs to go to. So they're going to handle the distributions and the potential expenses that arise and things like that. They're going to handle all of that from the trust account and then distribute everything else afterwards, after the expenses have been handled, or however it is structured for them, however you guys have everything set up. They will use it. It goes into the trust account, and then it goes into the there's so many other options that it can go into. So it goes into the following accounts afterwards, wherever the money needs to go, then they disperse it that way. So we were looking for the money to come into our accounts that the property management company had access to. We didn't necessarily want it all to go to the trust account. We wanted it to go to our account, and they just had access to it and controlled it from there. Now, that is how we have it set up in Tennessee. We called so many people here in Texas looking for that, and every single one of them said, that's not how we operate. We do it with a trust account. It's for your safety as well as our safety. And it's a bunch of legal loopholes and things like that I just won't go into right now. But ultimately, we had to settle for that, and we're going to see how it goes. But it is the norm. That's what happens regularly out here. I think that's it, guys. I think that's enough for you guys to go out there and just F some stuff up and come back with more problems. We could go on and on and on about this topic and dig even deeper. So maybe we can do like a part 2 of this topic and kind of just go more in depth. Hey, now we have the property management company. What now, right? So I think that could potentially be a follow-up or part 2. Let me know what you guys think in the Facebook group or in wherever you have contact to me. Just let me know. I'd love the feedback. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope there was a lot of value for you guys out there. Remember, we're the $1 Million Upside team. If you're not following us on Facebook, there's our Facebook group right there, the $1 Million Upside. Please like and subscribe this video. It would mean the world for you guys to share it. If you guys got some value, we would love to reach new people. We want to reach as many people as we can, because we say it all the time. We are trying to change the game. We are trying to change the way multifamily is done. So the more that you guys share word of mouth, it's going to help out and achieve that goal. So we would truly appreciate that. Remember, subscribe. And we are not attorneys or CPAs. So here's a disclaimer for the whole show. I hope you guys take that into account. And I'm just happy to be here. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys had a good time, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.